So when the turnout is high, the ANC does well. But when the turnout is low, the ANC doesn't do well. I'm not quite sure if the ANC will be voted out of power, but if it does come to power, it might come to power maybe by getting 50% on the dot. But gone are those days.
It's still a bit high, though.
Yes. I mean, the mere fact that the ANC has been having these deliberations on coalition arrangements speaks volumes that they are preparing themselves to walk out of power.
Okay.
Politics.
Yeah.
You see, because if you come to power as a political party, you need to appoint people in strategic positions who understand the political outlook of your party.
Yes, and who believe what you believe.
Yes, but the difference is that the ANC is appointing people willingly. You cannot deploy a director, a cleaner, a security guard. You are making a mockery now of the system. That's
So
the problem.
It's not that cadre deployment is wrong.
Precisely.
It's how the ANC is doing it.
Precisely.
DA is saying cadre deployment is wrong
but they are contradicting themselves.
because they do it in the Western Cape.
When Helen Zille came to power as a mayor of the DA in 2006, the first thing that she did was to get rid of the municipal manager. Why did she do that?
It's another beautiful edition of the GLC podcast, and today we're sitting with Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, who's a beautiful, well-renowned academic and who is a regular political analyst on various platforms. And I'm so privileged, Prof, to be sitting with you today. A whole lot of things that I'd like us to speak about. We'll see where the conversation goes. But thank you to all of the people that have been tuning into the podcast and that have been giving us feedback. Please do remember to comment and to let us know what you think about some of the things that we've been speaking about. I think we did a great episode last week and we spoke about the South Africa's case against Israel. We spoke about the NSFAS crisis and a couple of other things. And I was so keen and so excited to get the feedback that we got from some of you guys. So today we've got Prof. Prof, thank you very, very much for sitting down with us. For those that do not know you, because I know that there are some people out there that would not know who Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast is, how do you introduce yourself to them or what do you say?
First of all, thank you very much for having me and also for giving me the opportunity to share.
You didn't have to change your thing though.
No, never mind that. So thank you very much to you for giving me the opportunity to share with your audience my journey, my childhood experience, and so on. My name is Ntsikelelo Breakfast. I was born here in PE, Gqeberha. I was born in KwaZakhele. I won't give away my age. Then we moved to New Brighton. And then we moved to Zwide. I stayed in Zwide for a longer period. And then we moved to Algwa Park. Yeah, I think that's that.
Yeah. And is that your mother there at the back?
Yes. She's the one, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great. So just a bit before we get into some of these things, there are a couple of things. I wanted us to chat about the elections, 24 elections, it's election year.
Yeah.
I wanted us to speak about these whole ideological concepts. I mean, for someone like me that doesn't understand much about them, and I'm assuming for some of the audiences that are out there, communism, capitalism, socialism. I'll tell you why, because I was having another conversation with a friend and we were speaking about how majority of people would not necessarily vote in terms of their ideological beliefs, right? You'll tell me if I'm wrong or right, because you're an expert on this, how majority of people would not vote based on their ideological beliefs. So when they think EFF, maybe they won't necessarily vote, and because they're saying EFF is a socialist organization, maybe they might vote because they're saying we love Malema, not necessarily because they've read his policies and something. So I want us to chat about that. I want us also to chat about China. and what type of, in terms of their electoral system, I've heard a lot about this word titled meritocracy.
Okay.
So maybe, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Also, U.S. elections. So U.S.
Yeah,
elections,
of course, yeah.
So I want us to chat a bit about that. But let's start with your academic journey. And I've got something here that you posted on Facebook, which is why I thought I want to reach out to you and see, because you posted this on Facebook and I thought, man, this is interesting. And this is what, and I won't read all of it, but you said, my pursuit for knowledge started while doing grade 11 and grade 12. I used to go to the library religiously each and every day after school, including Saturday, to such an extent that I made friends with people who are already at university to get access to the books they were studying, in particular law. Take us back to that. Grade 11, grade 12.
Yeah, but first of all, let me give you the background to the story.
Sure.
Because everything is a context, and context is everything.
Yeah.
So I've not always been a bookworm, right? There was a time, and you might know about this, it's an open secret. There was a time when I dropped out of school when I was at high school.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so I dropped out of school. And it's when I did introspection. And then when God gave me a second chance to go back to school, then I appreciated education.
Yeah.
And then I had this interest to pursue my studies further. So while I was doing grade 11, I started making friends with people who were already at the university. So initially, I wanted to do law.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that came to my mind. I wanted to do law. But then I visited a friend of mine. Then I came across a textbook of political science. Then it caught my attention.
Yeah. Why did you drop out? What happened?
Hey,
Can you bring this closer a bit?
Yeah. It's a long story, man. Suffice to say, I take full responsibility for that. Yeah, it's
what happened? Tell us.
Yeah, I know it's a long story. Man.
Make it just short.
Yeah, I know. It's a long story, man. But yeah, it made me to appreciate education.
Okay.
Because I could have ended up uneducated.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Grade 11, grade 12, and then you came straight to varsity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So
registered for political science.
So already while I was on the outside, I had friends who were already on the inside.
Okay.
So I used to take out books in their names and so on. Yeah.
But where did that come from? I mean, it wouldn't be every child who does that and he goes and reads. I mean, if grade 11, grade 12, what was I doing?
Remember, I said to you earlier on, I could have ended up uneducated.
Sorry, Doc.
Yeah. I could have ended up uneducated.
Yeah.
So when God gave me a second chance, then I appreciated education, the opportunity to study. So I took it as something that is important for me to further my studies in order for me also to make ends meet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was something that happened when you dropped out that pushed you when you got a second chance and made you to appreciate education, and you went all in and you studied until up to PhD.
So the idea in the beginning was basically to get a bachelor's degree and then end up maybe as a bureaucrat in government and so on. But then when I was doing I can't remember when it was, it must have been my third year.
Sure.
So then there was this module on research methodology. And then, it was pitched very well. And then it's the one that developed an interest further for me to pursue education.
Yeah. Let's get into some of these topics, Prof. By the way, before we get into this, I think up until last year or the year before that, you were known as Dr. Ntsikelelo.
Yes.
So here's a simple question.
Yeah.
How does one become
a
professor? Is it based on the publications and you apply? How does that happen? Before we get into all of these things. Sorry, I'm going to keep bugging you about this.
The issue of a professorate is a very complex matter.
Professorate, that's not professorship. Same thing.
We call it a professorate.
Professorate.
Yes, because there are different types of professors.
Okay.
Yeah, there are different categories of professors.
Okay. Please explain that.
So professorate is the package.
Yeah.
You see, for instance, you get adjunct
Yes.
professors.
Yes.
Those ones are the ones that are in the marketplace.
Yeah.
They don't have to hold certain academic qualifications.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to name names. Yeah. Yeah. And then you get...
So that has to do with your experience.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have a footprint in the marketplace,
Uh-huh.
the university can recruit you.
Yeah.
And then you'll be attached to the university.
All right.
Yeah. And then you get...
whether you've got the necessarily qualifications or not, doesn't matter. As long as you've got a footprint, you've got experience.
Exactly.
So you would come in and lecture from time to time.
Yeah. So there are two prominent ones that reside within a university. The first one is a associate professorship. That's the title that I hold at the moment.
Yes.
So to be an associate professor in terms of policy and a procedure, you have to apply. So there will be a call that will be sent out by the university. I mean, I also applied at Stellenbosch when I was there, but then my application was turned down. Not because there were some issues with the university.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was not ready.
Okay.
And then there were some gaps.
They said you were not ready.
You know, becoming a professor is not easy. I'm not trying to be funny. It's not easy.
Yeah.
There are some boxes that you must tick.
Yeah.
One of
Sorry
them,
to disturb, Prof. Ne? Can we just turn this around?
Yeah,
see
no, it's
it
fine.
also.
So one of them is that you have to have a strong international footprint because the professor is an international scholar.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't have that because I was not mentored properly.
Okay.
I was just publishing, doing other things. So then, and also in the beginning, I was publishing locally, not internationally.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, our outputs, they are not ranked on par. Some journals have stars. Some journals, though they are accredited, but they're not regarded as the best of the best.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I got feedback, I really appreciated that. And then when I applied, when I came down here, holding the senior lecturership title, then I applied. Then I knew how to impress, the panel and how to articulate the questions that arose out of the interview. So what happens is that a call goes out, you apply, you get shortlisted.
Okay.
If you qualify.
To be an associate.
No. To come for an interview.
Okay.
Yes. And then you appear before a panel.
All right.
Then
what are the minimum requirements? PhD?
In my field,
Uh-huh.
you must hold a PhD. You must have published extensively. You have to have...
What's extensively? More than 10 times?
No,
15,
no,
what?
no. More than that. And you must publish in certain places.
All right.
Yes. I mean, there are some journals that the university will just disregard.
Oh.
Yes. So you have to publish in like leading scholarly journals.
Yeah.
You have to have book chapters, supervisory experience, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then you go through the interview,
Mm-hmm.
and then the university then gives you feedback. So in the interview, they ask you questions about your contribution
All right.
to
the
scholarship.
field.
Yeah. If you want to be a professor, you must be a teacher as well. So you must have experience in terms of curriculum design and development.
All right.
And you must also mentor other up-and-coming scholars. You have to take other people by hand.
Curriculum design and development, are you given that opportunity to contribute to that at varsity level whilst you lecture? Is that something you have to do outside of your... Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to design a curriculum. Also, you have to move with the times in terms of the field. And
yes.
so on, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you said there are 3. You've given me 2 so far.
So the first one is associate.
Adjunct.
Yeah. And then the first one at the university is an associate professor.
Yes.
And then the second one now is a fully fledged
Professor.
professor, yeah. That one, yeah, you have to go out of your way to acquire it.
What's going out of your way?
You
Publish more.
Yes.
Is that it?
And we have to publish in the best of the best journals.
Okay.
In the top journals in the
and
world.
that would be common knowledge based on what field you're in. Everyone
Not
would know
not
what,
common knowledge.
What the
it
best
must be
of
scientific
the best.
knowledge. Yes.
No, but I'm saying in terms of the what the best of the best journals are. Is it common knowledge in your field? Does everyone know that?
There is a platform that we call a Scopus, where journals are indexed. So those ones under that category are the best of the best.
Sure. Okay.
Yes. Even when they assess you, they will check. Is this under Scopus, under this, under that?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
The ones which, okay, let me not go there, but it's fine.
The ones which are not there.
No, never mind that. Yeah.
Let's get into these things, Prof. The political outlook in terms of globally now. I mean, I'm speaking to you as a lay person. You are an expert. What's happening globally? So many wars. I mean, there's so much going on.
No,
when you look at what's going on, what do you see?
I've also been trying my level best of late to catch up, with what is happening on a global scale. So the political outlook on a global scale paints a bleak picture, in my view, because of the conflicts and the wars that have broken out. For instance, just this morning, I saw on the news that Pakistan just attacked Iran because Iran attacked Iraq because the social movement in Iran is siding with the people of Palestine. And again, in Lebanon, one of the officials of Hamas was killed, and Lebanon posed a threat to the U.S. So the point I'm making is that the war that is underway between Israel and Palestine is sort of like expanding and posing a threat, even to the global economy in terms of the economic outlook of the world.
But why in terms of the economic outlook, why would that war have an effect on the economic outlook? What's the link between the war and economy?
Okay. Let me use this as a case in point. Look at the conflict that broke out, I think, 2 years ago between Ukraine and
Russia.
Uh-huh. Russia is one of the large oil producers.
Yeah.
So we procure oil from them. Now, if you have been following the economic performance of the country, it has not been doing well.
Yeah.
Also, fuel has been going up, partly because of that.
Yeah, no, that had a huge, that was
also,
very evident,
That has impacted on food security as well.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say, in terms of now, Israel, I mean, are they known for oil or what?
You must remember, Israel is a proxy of the U.S. in that war.
All right.
Yeah, Israel, the land that they have was given to them by Britain. So there is a lot that is going on there. That's why you cannot, in terms of periodization, you cannot look at the war that is underway from the 7th of October until to date, because that has been the argument that is advanced by Israel, that they are responding in self-defense, but they are omitting the history. So the point I'm making is that there is so much international insecurity, which is going to affect the global economy.
Yeah, I was sitting when I was thinking about our conversation today, and the question I was asking myself, like, particularly with these two main wars that we as, in inverted commas, lay people have been seeing, the Russia-Ukraine war and this Israel-Palestine war, I was thinking, man, and obviously I like what you're saying about Israel now being a proxy. Like, I didn't know that Israel was a proxy, but, and all of the the powers that be that are behind the scenes that are maneuvering. I mean, for instance, within the Ukraine thing, there are talks of the US, sending billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine and supporting the president and all of. I was thinking, are we going to a World War III? Do you think we are there globally? Do you think we're heading towards a World War III? Or do you think this is just going to be one of those things?
I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, but that cannot be ruled out. There are many possibilities because there have been other countries that have showcased their support towards Palestine because they believe that, Palestine has similarities with us.
Yeah.
That they are also waging a struggle against apartheid, colonialism, and so on. Coming back to the issue that I was speaking about, that Israel is a proxy of the US. The US has been vehemently opposed, for instance, to the grievance that we have instituted against Israel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw some of
that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
In terms of which side of the fence they're sitting on.
Yes. Oh, wow.
In fact, almost all the Western countries, and this is very interesting because they purport to stand for democracy in theory, but in practice,
they don't.
Precisely.
I don't want us to spend a lot of time on this because I think a lot of people have spoken at length. I want to pick your brain on the political systems that exist globally, right? Maybe if we could start by maybe giving us some sort of picture of what systems are there. Because, for instance, for us, we switch on the TV, you'd see in America, Republicans versus Democrats. Till this day, as a person, I don't know what the Republicans stands for. I don't know what the Democrats stand for. The two-party system in the US. And then you'll see in China, the Communist Party of China, So maybe if you could paint a picture for us in terms of the political systems that exist in the 21st century. And what are the dominant ones? China is a dominant economy. The US is a dominant economy. Let's look at Africa, So what are you seeing in terms of that? Because I want us to zoom in into the election now in the US and some of the things. There's some things I want to ask you there. So at a glance, these things, they differ from place to place. Yeah.
So I'll pick and choose two electoral systems. The first one is the PR system, the one that we are using in the country. But now there have been some developments. As you know, in 2020, there was a ruling that was made by the Constitutional Court.
Yeah. Independent.
Yes, that independent candidates can also stand, during the elections. But historically, the general elections have always been confined to the PR system, meaning that you get seats in parliament proportionally. People vote for political parties. So the formulators of the constitution accommodated that one.
Yeah.
But there is a background to that because the key thing is that all electoral systems have weaknesses. There is no electoral system which is perfect. They've got strong points. They also have weaknesses. So the beauty about the PR system is that it prevents an unnecessary conflict. Because if you have a country like ours, which is heterogeneous as opposed to be homogeneous, because we come from different walks of life, different racial categories,
different cultures, economic classes, all of that.
So almost all of them, they're able to be represented in parliament. But if you have...
in theory.
Yes, but if you look at our parliament, it's very diverse. I don't think that it's dominated by people of a particular racial category.
Yeah.
There are people from all racial categories there.
Okay.
Yeah, but now that applies to the PR system. Then you have first past the post, which is the one that is used in the US.
What is that?
First past the post. First past the post.
First past the post.
Yes.
Wow.
In plain English, that is a constituency-based system.
Okay.
So polling stations are divided according to constituencies. Now, the worst part of it, not that I've got one that I'm supporting, but the worst part of it is that to get a seat, you have to have normally 50 plus 1.
Okay.
And that is not easy.
To get a seat in Congress.
No, I mean, in any country where the electoral system is being used.
Okay.
Yes. Now, in our country, the beauty of it is that we have a hybrid system.
All right.
Yeah, because we also have strong elements of the PR system, according to the ruling. Also, we have the elements of first past the post now, because even individual can. I know people are discontent about the way things are, that, the way things are is not the way things should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Chinese system?
So the advantage of first past the post is that you are elected directly by the people.
Yeah.
And
which is something that doesn't happen in South Africa. We
Yes.
elect a political party,
Yes.
they go to parliament,
Yes.
and
Yes.
there you elect a president directly.
Yes. So that's the beauty of it. The worst part of it is that it's the politicians in parliament who elect on your behalf who must lead the country.
Say that again? Politicians in parliament?
Yes. They elect on your behalf who must lead the country,
Oh, okay.
who must become the president.
Oh, so
yes.
so you don't choose your own
I mean, for instance, see,
cabinet or anything like that. Is that what you're saying?
in our country, we have never been involved in the election of the president.
Yeah.
We only elect political parties,
Yeah.
and then political parties among themselves in parliament, they pick and choose who is going to lead the country.
So, okay. Let's zoom in on what's happening in America. I'm not sure. I'm sure you've been following what's happening.
No,
it's
for
the
sure.
elections.
I mean, there have been many developments in that part of the world. There have been many surveys that have been carried out showcasing who has an upper hand.
Who do you think is going to win?
I think it's neck and neck, in my view. You see, these candidates or contenders, they've got different outlooks. I mean, for example, Trump believes that the U.S. has to employ the same foreign policy that was used before the First World War,
Okay.
which is isolationism.
All right.
That's why Trump is saying that the U.S. will not give Ukraine a blank check. They are not going to throw their weight behind Ukraine. In fact, they want...
Under his leadership.
Yes.
Which is what is happening now.
Because he believes in America first.
Yeah.
Yes.
But hasn't that always been how American presidents...
No, but now if you look at the international footprint of the U.S., it's almost all over the show.
Yeah. So in terms of the presidential election, who do you think is going to win?
My view is that, and I know this is
Because I think now it's only between what?
arguable.
President Trump and Joe Biden.
Yes. You know what? My view is that people in the U.S., by and large, they vote on matters of foreign policy because the U.S. is like an empire. I mean, America is about 333 million people. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yes. And hey, I don't want to make a controversial statement, but some people argue that it is still the only superpower. Others are great powers, but others are arguing that no, we've got a multipolar world order, because I mean, under normal circumstances, you would never have a country that invades another country the way Russia has done. Yeah. So the foreign policy positions that America takes, they are important to the people of the U.S. because that impacts on the budget in terms of domestic affairs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So who do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still, I mean, it's neck and neck in my view.
Is it? But I mean,
it's just that my concern is that I mean, Biden is 81.
He's too old. That's what I was going to say. That look at the guy's too old.
Yes, and there has been unhappiness about the foreign policy of the U.S. towards Israel. You know, people have been unhappy about that in opposition to what the the US does there.
Yeah. Let's just break down for us, Prof. Democrats versus Republicans.
So
Are these two political parties?
Yes.
What do they? Are they two on the opposite end of?
No, the outlooks are fundamentally different.
Okay.
As I pointed out earlier on, Trump's posture on the international front is different. Biden has a different outlook as well. Of course, then, leadership is something that you exercise through your personality. So also we've got different people with different personalities. The Democrats have a different outlook as opposed to the Republicans. Because they use the first past the post, people vote directly for the contenders. Unlike in our context whereby you vote for the political party, then the party will come with a list in terms of who must be deployed and so on. Yeah.
What I'm trying to understand is what do they stand for? Like, for instance, let me ask it like this, right? In South Africa, we know if we say DA versus versus EFF, if those are the two, we know.
The Republicans are conservative.
All right.
Yeah, they believe in political conservatism.
Which is, what does that mean?
They are to the right of the political spectrum.
All right.
And then the Democrats, they are center left.
Okay.
Yes.
What does that mean? These are very, like, the academic jargons. I don't understand. Wait, okay. Liken them
left,
to...
Left means you are like a Marxist, you are radical.
Yes. Like an EFF.
Yes.
Associated with what? Socialism and... Yes or no?
For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then center left, you are wearing two caps. You are gravitating to the left on the one hand. On the other hand, you are in the middle.
Okay. Can you if these two can you call them political parties?
Yes,
Republicans?
Yes, they are. That's why I said they are political parties, but they use first past the post.
Which parties would you liken them in South Africa to?
I don't think that will be comparing apples with apples if we are comparing them.
Okay.
Because they're using a different electoral system. You see, the Democrats are similar to the DA.
Okay, that's so Democrats similar to the DA.
And I'm not saying this.
DD.
I beg your pardon?
I'm saying DD. I'm just trying to make the link. Democrats are similar to the DA.
Yes.
Okay.
Why? Because of what they stand for.
Democrats produced the President Barack Obama.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So Clinton, yeah. So if he was in South Africa, he would probably be in the DA.
I think so.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they believe in liberalism, which is about human rights, equality, rule of law,
free market economy.
Partly yes and partly no.
Okay.
There are different versions of liberalism. It's not something that is monolithic.
Okay.
Yes. For instance, some liberals, they believe that you have to have a human face, meaning that you have to reach out to the poorest of the poor. Some people believe, no, liberalism is about freedom.
Yeah.
Therefore, you need to take a step back and allow the market forces to do as they please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying the Democrats, you would liken them to the DA. Although, it's not a good fit, but you would liken them. Republicans?
Arguably. It's not a statement that is cast in stone.
Yes. Arguably. Yes, I like that. Republicans? EFF?
No. EFF is a leftist organization.
Yeah, far left.
Those ones are things like Freedom Front.
Oh!
They are to the right. They are opposed to change, you see. Yeah,
the Republicans.
They want a change for the West, not for the better.
Can you think it, right? Yeah. So it's Republicans, Freedom Front Plus.
Yes. That's why, for instance, when this debate broke out about the return of the stolen land, Members of the Freedom Front and other people from that section of the population, they went to pledge for support from Trump.
Is it? I didn't
Precisely.
know.
Yes,
And he supported them.
for sure.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's look at China a bit before we come to South Africa, Prof. This word the word meritocracy,
Yes.
right, often comes up when we hear about the Chinese electoral system and how it works and all of that. I don't know of any other political party in China other than the Communist Party of China. Is there any other? What's happening in China? How do they do it? How is it structured?
Okay, you are raising two things.
Simply.
Meritocracy, from my standpoint, is about appointing people on merit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's as simple as that's why, for instance, China also was colonized, but it has the fastest growing economy on a global scale.
Yeah.
But sometimes we behave as if we are the only country that has ever been colonized.
Yeah.
China was hit the hardest under the circumstances of COVID-19. But its economy has been growing. I think 2 days ago, they released some stats that the economy of China grew by 5%. I'm not saying that it is out of the woods as yet, but it is doing very well.
Yeah.
But look at what is happening here.
Yeah.
Our economy has not been growing the way it should have.
Yeah.
Because of poor leadership.
Yes.
The Chinese, we look up to China because they have what is called a developmental state.
Who's we?
Us.
Us, South Africans.
Yes, as a country. But the Chinese, because you see, promoting development takes more than throwing money around. You have to have discipline.
Yeah.
The Chinese have, meritocracy, but also they appoint people who can get the job done.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So how is it a one party?
Yes.
It's a one party system.
It's a one party state.
State. Okay.
Yes. So there's no political competition. Suffice to say,
No elections.
There are elections. You see, people compete within the party amongst themselves.
There's no one from outside saying, okay,
yes,
we are the...
Then when you elect them, then they say that is democratic.
Is it democratic?
No, it's not. There must be a palpable electoral competition.
Yes.
You see,
Do you see that happening in China anytime soon? Not.
No, of course not.
Do you think Chinese people are happy with how the political system is and all of that, and the censorship and all of that?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. Look, China has gone through a lot because there was a time when it was under strict socialism, under Maoism. Then from 1979, it introduced some economic reforms. Then it became this open economy.
Yes.
And since then, it has been doing very well.
Yeah.
In terms of economy. It's one of the engines of the global economy.
Yeah. I was reading something that the Chinese government has been able to take close to 800 million people out of poverty in the past 40 years. And I thought, wow, man.
Yeah.
And one would say that's why the EFF, whenever the EFF speaks about some of their policies, they say, look at China. If China can do it, we can do it.
And also China has a population that is sitting at 1 billion.
Yeah.
And they've been able to pull the majority of people out of poverty. But again...
So whatever they're doing works.
Yes, because of bureaucratic discipline. Yeah, people come late at work. They leave early, you see. They do as they please. There's no discipline. So the issue is not money, but organizational discipline within the bureaucracy.
Which is where when I was speaking about this meritocracy, would you say that's where it would come in? Because, it's on merit.
You see, now you're talking about deployment now.
Yeah.
Because here we
have
cadre,
Yes.
I'm a proponent of cadre deployment. I support it.
Oh, Prof. Yeah.
Yes, because cadre deployment is an international phenomenon. In the US, for instance, each and every administration is named after the president.
Yes.
The Bush's administration,
the Obama administration.
Yes.
So that's cadre deployment.
That is the nexus between administration and politics.
Yeah.
You see, because if you come to power as a political party, you need to appoint people in strategic positions who understand the political outlook of your party.
Yes, and who believe what you believe.
Yes, but the difference is that the ANC is appointing people willingly. You cannot deploy a director, a cleaner, a security guard. You are making a mockery now of the system. That's
So
the problem.
It's not that cadre deployment is wrong.
Precisely.
It's how
Yes.
the ANC is doing it.
Precisely.
DA is saying cadre deployment is wrong
But they are contradicting themselves.
because they do it in the Western Cape.
When Helen Zille came to power as a mayor of the DA in 2006,
Yeah.
the first thing that she did was to get rid of the municipal manager. Why did she do that if the party is vehemently opposed to cadre deployment? Because she understands that the municipal manager is the champion of service delivery. So that symbiotic relationship is key in terms of enhancing development.
And a particular agenda.
But the problem is that now when you want to politicize, the middle management, but top management, those must be cadres. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. So long as they meet the requirements, there's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah, so long as they're qualified people, they
yes.
know the work, they can deliver, but they must be cadres.
For sure. I think all political parties do that. But in theory, people use these things to take a swipe at this and that political party and so on.
South Africa, 2024 elections, so many choices. So many, I think yesterday there was a new party that was launched, or the day before that in Bloemfontein. Hope something in Bloemfontein. A month or two ago, there was a other new party in Joburg that was launched. I think it was backed by some rich person. I don't know.
That is Roger.
Yes, something like that. Yeah. Prof, there's what do these, if you were to give a short lecture on what these parties stand for, it's a bit of an unfair question, but what would you say? Let's look at the new ones. There's Build One South Africa, Bossa. What do you think of that? Rise Mzansi, what do you think of that? Action SA in the Eastern Cape, Ethel Trollip is every day, he's out and about, he's in communities, he's working, So what do these political parties, particularly the new ones, what do they stand for?
Okay, first of all, I think we need to appreciate the constitutional provisions that we have a multi-party system.
Yes.
Section 19 of the Constitution says everyone has a right to establish a political party. You can't take away that right from anyone.
Yeah.
So you can't say we have enough political parties, therefore we cannot establish other. But the problem is that when you have a plethora of political parties, that fragments the political environment. And that also benefits the ANC. Because the votes, they tend to be split.
I've heard Helen speaking about this, but I never understood it. When she says, I'm not sure if you're speaking about this, when she says if you're voting for smaller parties and then it splits the vote, no, rather only either vote for this or that. Don't give your vote to smaller parties. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think, if you have, for instance, 4 political parties, in my opinion, I think that is enough. Then you are making...
The whole country?
Yes, or 5. Then you are making, competition healthy and tough.
So having lots of is unhealthy. Having lots of political parties is unhealthy. That's
yes, because even though the ANC arguably has fallen short, I'm not saying that nothing has happened or nothing has changed since 1994. That I think they could have done better, in terms of rendering services.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
But now when you have these political parties, then the votes will be split. then you might end up having the ANC in power again.
In what way? Because the votes are split. But what if these moonshot things, they come together,
you see,
mobilize themselves as,
So now we're talking about coalition
yes.
Formations. Yes, I mean, what gives rise to them is a political...
Sorry, Prof, can you think?
Yes, what gives rise to coalition formations is a political environment that is fragmented, where there's no outright winner. But again, coalition arrangements, they pose a threat, to the stability of the country, because they've been unstable and unworkable.
Yeah.
They really require a very nuanced approach. Because, look, I mean, I know this is controversial, but I think that coalition formations are a recent phenomenon in the country, because they started, in my view, in the early 1900s, in 1924, and then 1933. Then after that, the National Party dominated the political landscape until the ANC rose to power in 94. And then the ANC was dealt with a blow, I think, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then we saw coalition formations at local government level. And then the ANC was dealt with a blow on a large scale in 2016. Remember when they lost a number of municipalities in urban centers? Yes.
Yeah.
So I think one party...
You're saying coalitions don't work.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that coalition formations in our context, they are new.
Yeah.
They come from Europe, countries like Germany, France, Denmark. Those are examples that we even ourselves look up to.
Yeah.
That's why I think last year there was a delegation that went to...
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, they went.
Europe,
They went up to, I think it was Germany.
Yes,
and they had
to look at international best practices.
What do you make of the new parties? I mean, Rise and Mzansi, they're all over South Africa. I heard Julius Malema saying he was actually in the recent press he did in KZN, and he was asking, where do these guys get so much money? And their posters are everywhere, all over the country. And he was saying there's another country that's funding Rise and Mzansi. What do you make of Usongezo Zibi and his party?
So we are raising two issues. The first one is about funding. There is a policy that is in place that regulates how political parties must disclose on funding. So that applies to all of them across the political spectrum. I think when you have funding that is above 100,000, you have to lay bare the amount in public.
Yeah. But let's not go into the funding thing. What do you make of Rise Mzansi as a political party? What do you think, honestly?
You see, now I must tread carefully, but I don't want to come across if I'm promoting them. You see.
Yeah. But if you are to speak openly, I mean, what do you think? I mean, as a scholar, as an academic, when you analyze and you look at Rise Mzansi,
I think the party rose to prominence because of the failures of the ANC, because they can see that the country is not heading towards the right direction. I think that is what gave rise to the party. But the party, my reading of the situation is that it targets in the main the middle class.
Okay.
Yeah, as opposed to parties like the EFF, ANC. I know the ANC is a broad church, or PAC, because those political parties have a specific constituency that they pitch their message to. But I think, I mean, they will get something.
Do you think that would be a downfall?
Not really. I'm just saying it's a limitation.
Yeah. The fact that I don't think they're doing it consciously. Or do you think they're doing it consciously?
I mean, if you look at the people that they normally pitch their messages to, it's people who are part of the middle class. Even their ideological outlook, I don't think they are gravitating to the left like the EFF. I don't think they're talking about the return of the stolen land or nationalization and so on. Yeah.
No, they're not. I haven't heard anything.
Yes. It's a group of people who are within their right, who are concerned about the direction that the country is taking.
All right. So you're saying I mean, the limitation in terms of rise could only be just because they are focusing
But that is not the only limitation.
the major.
Yeah, it's one of
The major.
limitations, yeah.
Okay. Action SA.
That one is sometimes referred to as a DA light. You see? I mean, you must remember the so-called founding father of the political party in question broke away from the DA
Yes.
because he was unhappy
Yes.
about
So did
things.
Musi Maimane in a way.
So there is someone who walked out of the party. I can't remember when it was. It must have been 2 years ago. I think it was Dr. Koza.
Makosi Kosa,
Yes. So
yeah, and she spoke a lot, eh? She said so many things.
Spilled some beans in terms of funding the party and so
But
on.
I think she was angry. I think she was...
Could be.
Because they...
Maybe or maybe not, I don't know.
So you think Action SA?
The other thing is that, which is a common denominator between the DA and this party, is that they both believe in the free market system.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, break that down for us. Simply, free market system, what does that mean?
It means that the market forces must do as they please. They're not going to interfere.
How does that differ to capitalism?
There are different versions of capitalism.
Okay.
You see, for instance, this model of development of China is called a developmental state.
Okay.
It's a capitalist state. It's not a socialist state.
Is it?
No, it's a capitalist state, but it has a strong state.
Is it not a communist state?
No, the party is communist. The system is not communist.
Hey, Prof. So you're saying there's a communist party that China runs a capitalist state?
China, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the large trading partners of South Africa.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean, globally, because they are manufacturing giant.
The point I'm making is that they have an open economy.
All right.
Yes. China is not a socialist state.
Communist.
No, there is no such. The party is communist. The system is not communist.
Yeah, we were talking about Action SA and DA.
Yes.
So what are you saying?
No, I'm saying that
about Action SA.
The common,
sorry, I'm gonna keep bugging you.
The common denominator.
Yes.
Between these
free market.
Yes, free market.
Okay, that's what you say.
Yes, because they believe in freedom.
In freedom, good thing or bad thing? I mean, surely freedom.
In a country like ours, I think the state has to intervene in the workings of the market forces.
That sounds like EFF language.
You're not saying that there must be a socialist model of development, which is introduced. But I think you need to discipline capital, and then you take the money that goes to fiscus into development.
Doesn't China discipline capital in this sense? I mean, Jack Ma, he went around. I'm sure you know Jack Ma, Alibaba, and he just disappeared. And now we don't know what happened. He just disappeared, and he was speaking a lot, doing a lot of conferences. And so, in that way, based on what you've just said, doesn't then China discipline capital? Another example is
it does, but
Facebook and all of these WhatsApp, they're not allowed. So,
no, by discipline, I mean they should tax capital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then deploy those resources to the less fortunate.
So, in a free market economy, that wouldn't necessarily happen.
No, I mean the market forces, they do as they please. That's why in our country, when we have like triple BEE, which has contradictions, because on the one hand, it's about state interventionism. The state regulates the market forces. On the other hand, the ANC wants to create a patriotic bourgeoisie class.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So that's Action SA, right, Prof? Bossa, Build One South Africa. What do you make of Bossa, Musi Maimane?
To be honest, I don't know what they stand for. I think it could have been good if he had been subsumed under Action SA. You know, I thought he's not going to stand in the upcoming general elections because he said he was going to be involved in the civil society.
But they've published a 10-point plan, and he's spoken about it extensively on various media platforms about what they want to do, what they want to change in terms of education, energy, and all of those things. So when you say you don't know what they stand for, what do you mean? Are you saying
there's no ideology?
And they've said on that, they've said they are they believe in radical centrism.
What do they mean by that? Are they gravitating to the left?
They've said they believe in radical centrism, meaning
they are a centrist.
Yes,
party. Okay.
Yes.
Or the same as those who are to the center of the political spectrum. No, I mean that's fine. It's just that he doesn't have the numbers to garner votes, for him to make a meaningful contribution in parliament.
Okay, so what are you basing that on? Are you basing that on what you're seeing in terms of media? Because on the other side, you would say,
have they ever contested for by-elections or anything of the sort?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a new party, September last
yeah, but I mean, there have been many by-elections.
But they've assisted. Part of their model is that they assist local civic organizations who want to contest, and they want to assist those, particularly when it comes to local elections and all of that. They want people that are elected by the communities to run for those elections. So here they assisted AIM in PE. Kusta Jack has been linked to Bossa. In Queenstown, they worked with Ken Clark, the guy that owns Tweezer. Ken Clark is now in the municipality. I don't know what he is there. So to answer that question,
all I'm saying is that their strength has not been tested as yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same could be said about Rise and Sons.
For sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The EFF, DA, ANC. My last question on this in terms of politics now, South Africa. I mean, the DA came out and said, and this is fairly old, but I think it's still such a dangerous statement that was made by the DA that EFF is enemy number one and all of that. What do you make of those three? Because these are three biggest political parties now going into the elections. Many political analysts have come out and said, hey, the ANC might drop, but it would still retain majority and all of that. So what do you make of the big three? EFF has been consistent in showing a level of growth throughout the years in terms of their numbers. What do you think?
It's not quite clear, in my opinion, which way the wind is blowing, because the ANC, of course, has had a downward electoral trajectory. Interestingly, when you look at data, the ANC, every time when voter turnout is high, the ANC does well. The highest voter turnout we've ever had was in 1999. Then the ANC got, I think, 65%.
Wow.
In 1994, it was a very high turnout again, because it stood at 82%. But then the electoral outcomes favored the ANC. They won by 62%. And then, of course, in 2004, the ANC won by 2/3. Interestingly, the turnout dropped then. So when the turnout is high, the ANC does well. But when the turnout is low, the ANC doesn't do well. I'm not quite sure if the ANC will be voted out of power, but if it does come to power, it might come to power maybe by getting 50% on the dot. But gone are those days.
It's still a bit high, though.
Yes. I mean, the mere fact that the ANC has been having these deliberations on coalition arrangements speaks volumes. That they are preparing themselves to walk out of power.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would never have done that. You see? So I think they are sensing a danger that, one party dominance is a thing of the past. So that is on the one hand. And then on the other hand, you have the DA.
Yep.
You see, the problem with the DA, someone said 2 days ago who was resigning from the DA is consolidating its base as opposed to expanding its support. You see,
Wow.
because now they don't
Deliberately.
yes, they don't want to deepen their base anymore now, but they want to maintain it, and their base historically has always been white. You see, that's why there has been an exodus of black leaders of the DA. Yeah, but the advantage that the DA has as opposed to the EFF is that the audience to which the message of the DA is pitched to is wider as opposed to the EFF, because the base of the EFF is narrow.
But it's a big narrow.
Yeah. But the point I make, look, I mean, the EFF has done very well. They need to tap themselves on the back. They've done very well. They were established in 2014 against the background of Marikana. They got 6% in the next cycle, which was in 2019. They got 12. So you could see that they doubled up their efforts. Even now, I think they're going to double up their effort. But that doesn't mean that they will replace the DA as number 2. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But they will do well.
Yeah. Not better than the DA.
I don't think so, because the base of the DA is wider. They might have some racial issues. There are some things which are not clear, whether does the party support racially inspired policies, triple BE, employment equity. Some people say the party subscribes to non-racialism, meaning that the party is colorblind, so the party transcends beyond racial classification. If you look at these policies of transformation, they're inspired by, among other, I'm not saying that race is the only factor.
But race is a big factor.
Of course it is. I'm not talking about the thing of the DA.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the reasons that Musi decided to step down, because he also spoke about that.
He rubbed some people in a wrong way, but talking about whiteness and white privilege. And that language did not sit well with some people here in some quarters.
In the DA.
Yeah.
Are we more likely to have an ANC president, or what do you think?
Like I said, I mean, there are many possibilities. The ANC could maybe, even though this is controversial, join forces with the EFF.
Yeah.
And then constitute government in that way.
It's highly likely that Julius would be going to the union buildings.
Through that arrangement.
Yeah.
But at the same time now, you have this new kid on the block called Umkhonto Wesizwe Party.
Hey!
You see? Which is now compounding the situation now.
Blackland first also.
Yes, because if the EFF joins forces with the ANC, that will not sit well with Umkhonto Wesizwe.
Yeah.
You see, so maybe that arrangement between the EFF and the ANC might not work because of the new kid on the block, Umkhonto Wesizwe.
Do you think they?
I mean, I don't have any imagination of Umkhonto Wesizwe joining forces with the ANC.
No, definitely not.
Yes.
Definitely not. They've joined forces with Blackland first.
So then the EFF will have to make a call whether it joins forces with the ANC or with Umkhonto Wesizwe. But they can't be all together.
Yeah.
That is practically impossible.
Yeah. Prof, what's your message? My last question, what's your message to, I mean, we follow you on Facebook.
Yes.
On Facebook, you are very, you're a joyful person. On Facebook.
No, thank you very much for
you're very
those kind
joyful,
words,
but
yeah.
we follow what you're saying. I mean, you've done very, very well as a person, as an academic, and I think there's even more that you want to do in the coming years. So, to people who want to pursue something similar to you, that's the last question. What would you say to them? People that want to pursue an academic journey and that might have maybe experienced what you experienced, maybe, you know, that phase that woke you up, that phase of your life where you dropped out, and then what would you say to them? What must they do?
I think whichever career that you choose, it must be a response to the call of duty. You know, because that's where inspiration comes from. So we've got different callings. You know, some people are called to become academics. Some people are called to be in entertainment and so on. Yeah.
Yes.
So not all of us can gravitate
Must
to
be a call
academia.
of duty. Yeah.
Yes.
It must. I like that. It must be a call of duty. Trav, thank you so much for your time.
Not a problem, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You.